Hi, it's the Masterful Living Coach here. My name is Schumann. I'm a career and life coach and author of the book Falling in Love with Your Job. Welcome to my Changing Careers show, in which you will see interviews with people who manage to create a job they truly love by either changing their career or setting up their own business. And today I'm here with Darren Hill, who is the CEO and founder of Insight, which is a new telephone and video platform for freelancers and advisory companies. Welcome to the show, Darren.
Hi, Hans. Thank you, and welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Well, let's start by talking a little about what Insight is. Tell us, what is it and how does it work?
Yeah, so Insight is a place where we connect coaches, advisors within the business space on various categories within business industries to people really looking for guidance, career guidance, how they can do better in their career, how they can improve themselves generally as a person. And we focus on real personal insights. So we have loads of people there, great people like Hans, who are able to really offer you really great advice. You can do that either via a video call or a phone call.
Well, in this show, we are mainly interested in the story of your career transition.
Sure.
And you're actually quite an interesting case study, because looking at your CV, you worked for Goldman Sachs and for JP Morgan.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, that's really royal blood in the financial services industry. So for many people, that would be success. So what prompted you to leave all of this behind and set up your own business?
Yeah, that's a great question, Hans. I was, so a little bit of background about me, I guess. So I grew up in a small town in Dorset. I'd never really spent any time living or working in any city, let alone London. And I went to university up in Loughborough. I studied engineering. And I really didn't know what it was I wanted to do until my final year. And I was looking, I think it was in the Times Top 100. I was going through looking at all the kind of jobs, and sort of started from the top and said, right, where do I have skills? And I was doing technology, and I was really interested in computers and programming, that kind of thing. So I kind of went down and I found Goldman Sachs, and I found, and I found sort of various investment banks. And being pretty young and naive, I wasn't even really sure what that was all about. But I owe a huge amount of gratitude to both Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. I think, without that experience, I'd never be doing what I'm doing now. But in terms of defining success, I don't think that you can define success based on a company or on the name of a company. You have to define success in terms of how it feels to you and what it says in your heart. And working for companies like that, I was surrounded by incredibly bright, clever, successful people. And I think one of the things I felt after several years is that there are always these people that are kind of like way more successful than me, and it's not just about money, not just about paychecks, but really it's about your own way of defining success. And for me, I wanted to be able to create something not for someone else. I wanted to create something for me. And growing up as a kid in Dorset, I used to spend days sitting with my father, who used to be a house builder. So he used to build homes, and I used to see them being constructed, and the whole process of the bricks being laid, and kitchens being put in, things like that. And at the end of that process, there's something there, and it's built, and it's beautiful, and you've done something where you produce something, and it's yours, and other people can appreciate it. And I think that what frustrated me with working within a bank, or even if it wasn't a bank, I'm doing something that someone else is ultimately going to own, and I think that's what frustrated me slightly. I wanted to have a way of me being able to create something that I own and that other people can enjoy, and it can hopefully help. And I think that's what drove me to starting Insight.
Thanks for sharing the story. I mean, there are loads of clients who I have who would like to do something similar, and they're particularly interested in setting up their online business. And often you get the impression that's a really easy way to get rich quickly. Can you tell me, is that really true? What's your experience?
Well, firstly, it's not easy, and secondly, I'm still not what I'd consider being rich. So if that's your motivation, then I would say honestly, think again. It's a really great thing to do. I love every day of my job, but really think about it. You must have a passion for it. You must have the comfort and the funds to be able to do it. So just think really, really hard about it, because it's not an easy ride.
I guess some people think it is easy because everybody nowadays can set up a website. It's really easy. But for something like you do, it's actually a platform which is far more complex. And also, even if you build that, you need to generate traffic to it.
Sure.
And what I hear from people, similar situations like you, that's actually the most difficult part. Is that your experience as well?
Well, I think traction is king. They used to always say that the thing that you have to have for an internet business is a great idea, or for any business, if you're looking to start a business, you must have a great idea. But the truth is, there's no great revolutionary idea anymore. There may be a few, but they're very, very hard to find. It's all about execution. It's all about the team, having a great team around you, and it's really about being able to show, at least to an investor, if that's what you're looking for, because most people ultimately have a little bit of savings maybe to get things off the ground, but to be able to build a business to scale, you really need to start looking at getting investment in, whether that's from friends or family or from sort of external people. But traction is something that is key, and that's something that we never lose sight of.
You mentioned the importance of having a team. Lots of my clients would like to set up their business. They have this kind of idea, but they know they can't do it on their own. But they don't have anybody to work with. Do you have any ideas how to find people who could become co-founders or investors or employees?
Yeah, so I mean, I think certainly look around friends and family. It's not always a great idea to work with friends. Friends can fall out. If you do that, then make sure you have good agreements in place. The way that I found my initial partner was through going to startup events. So there's many events in London. There's some great ways of being able to find these events. And my actual initial partner for Insight was a guy that I met going to these events in London specifically for startups. And the other great thing about going to some of these events is that you'll be able to meet people that are from similar backgrounds. You'll also meet people that are still in jobs and they're maybe thinking about doing startups, which was my experience at the time, because I was doing this whilst I was still working for JP Morgan. So I think that's definitely the best way of getting started. Get out there, talk to people that are doing it, and then you'll meet new friends and you'll meet like-minded people, and you may well even meet your future partner.
Great ideas. And the other thing you mentioned is costs and funding.
Sure.
And what I'm hearing from people who set up their own internet business, it always turns out to become more expensive than they thought, and it takes much longer than they thought to get into the profits. So do you have any advice on how to get a good grip on how much that it will actually cost, how to price it and then fund it?
Yeah, great question, Hans. What I'd say to people is, however long you think it's going to take to do anything, double it or treble it. And the same goes for how much things are going to cost as well. If you have good people working for you and you're paying them, they're going to at one point turn around and say, look, want to get paid more. You have to be ready for that. If you're already in a job, I think one of the great things you can do is you can actually start to prepare, put money aside, start to plan that way. You have to have a little bit of rainy day money to be able to get going. If you're able to come up with an idea and you're able to spend time whilst you're still working before actually taking the plunge and doing a startup full time, then there's no harm in trying to look for funding before you even start. So I think these are things that you can do to sort of start helping you think. But the big thing, as I mentioned before, is that yes, things cost money. You need to obviously try and imagine what it's going to be like to not get that paycheck coming in every month or every week, and really sort of try to budget for that. But the question you have to ask yourself is that if you're prepared to do this, you really have to accept the fact that unless you've got a huge amount of money put aside in savings, you have to accept that there's going to be a change in your lifestyle. And I think that's one of the big things that you have to take into account.
So setting up your own business, quite complex, has its challenges, and I guess you never really know what it's like until you're in the business.
Yeah.
What is an example of a challenge that you didn't even envisage before you started?
Yeah, so I think I just touched on it then, and that's really around talent. So first of all, with a technology company, it's really, really hard to find great developers. Now, lots of people these days can cut code, and you'll never have any difficulty in going out and finding someone who can program and who can knock things up. But to be able to find someone who can really do that well, and they can do it from a really technical, well-engineered basis, that's really hard to find. So it took me and the company several months until we found developers that we were really, really happy with. But then even after that, you then have to be able to retain them. You have to be able to really sort of encourage and bring up your developers and really make them kind of part of the family, which is what it is when you're a small company like this. And we went through a few challenges. We took a few little kind of changes in direction. I started looking at different avenues and started working with other companies very early on after the inception of Insight. And that didn't quite work out. We brought developers across and we started looking at other types of things at the same time. And I think that's an example where you really must keep the focus. There's nothing wrong with pivoting in a business, but there's a difference between pivoting and sort of changing focus and losing focus of what your original vision was. So that's really probably one of the biggest challenges that we have.
And you're still in the early years of your business.
Yes.
What's your vision for the next 10 years?
So we want to be the advice platform of choice. I think I didn't mention earlier, but we're actually now working in the software as a service space, the SaaS space. So we're working to white label our own platform so that other businesses can do similar things. We're working with university admissions company, we're working with mortgage companies, IFAs, so we would love Insight to be basically driving that expertise and advisory marketplace for other businesses as well. So we'd love people to be going on websites, booking appointments with experts, advisors, coaches, and then not even realising that it's actually Insight running the system. So that'd be a really great place to be.
Great vision. So we are nearly at the end of our time. If somebody would like to be one of the experts or find an expert through your website, where do they need to go and what's the process?
Sure, thanks for asking, Hans. So yeah, it's really easy. Just head over to the website, Insight. That's inzite.io. You'll see there's a little red button. Clicking on that, you'll be able to apply to become an expert. It takes about a couple of minutes to do so. We ask you a few short questions. You can sign up either with LinkedIn or with email. And we normally approve accounts within about 24 hours.
Great.
So we'd love to get more people on the website, so that'd be brilliant. More people like you, Hans.
Thank you. Well, it's been great to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us. I really love how your platform enables people from any background and career to get expert advice very easily. And I'm really excited to see how this is all going to grow and develop.
Oh, thank you very much. No, it's been great.
That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you would like to see more interviews with people who managed to create a job that they truly love, then do subscribe to the channel using the link below. I would also love to read your comments, which you can also leave below the video. And if you would like to be on the show and talk about your career transition, do contact me. All my contact details are on this page. That's all for today. See you soon.
Bye.